In this cartoon mythology video, we'll discuss one of your most requested cartoons, Gravity Falls. Let's discuss the enchanting creatures from one of the greatest animated works I've encountered. So, share the video, leave a like, and subscribe to the channel if you can also become a member because it will help me a lot. Let's go. Let's start with the hide behind, or ando in Portuguese. Look at the respect, it's not what you're thinking. He appears in a Gravity Falls short, which is presented by Dipper, called Dipper's Guide to the Unexplained. Or if you search on YouTube, you'll probably find the name Dipper and the Anomaly.
Hello and welcome to Dipper's Guide to the Unexplained. Thank you.
According to what Dipper says, the choose behind, if you look at respect, is an invisible being that has never been seen. Then you ask me, but 1000 of 1000 mythology, if he has never been seen, how do they know he exists? So, do you see wind? No, right? It also exists. No, just kidding. Yeah, because they found some footprints that give the idea that the creature really exists.
But these photos indicate that it could actually be real.
So Dipper starts asking people if they've seen and believe in the hide behind. If I respect him, As if it were basically a discovery documentary.
Hide behind?
It does exist. It's as real as my beard.
Once it was behind me, it made this sound. T-t-t-t-t-t-t.
He asks a reader who would be Wendy's father, to the cafeteria staff, and also to Stan. Stan, in this case, disagrees that the legend exists and even says that the townsfolk are quite dumb and that Dipper shouldn't believe in it.
The people of this town are truly the dumbest people in the world.
But then a sound emerged that they say is from the hide behind. Dipper runs off to see if he can somehow record the creature, but it was just an owl or not.
What was that?
I don't know if you guys noticed, but the hide behind, look at the respect, reminds a lot of Slender Man, both by his very large shape, with long arms, long legs, and also by the way he chases people, even by the sound he makes. The Summer Inn guy appears in the episode called Summer Inn, and this is the name of Halloween during the summer, since in Langorft Falls they like Halloween so much that they celebrate it twice a year. Well, the episode goes on until it's time to ask for candies. Jipper doesn't want to go because he feels too grown up for that, until someone knocks on the door and asks for candies. And we see a strange creature there that even looks like a scarecrow. Jipper denies him twice. Then he gets very angry and devours a mini Casimiro. Say, Casudo, everything be everything? Man, I was here in my room and all, looking at a tile. You put this one in?
There's only one.
Way to show that he is really evil. So he says that if the crowd there doesn't want to become Monster Chow, they should give him candies, specifically 500 candies, until the night is over. Actually, it's more dramatic than that, okay? He says they have until the last candle goes out.
And bring it to me before the last candle goes out?
They get a lot of candies, but lose everything in the end. And when the last candle goes out, because of them themselves actually, our dear Candy Scarecrow appears to claim his part of the promise. He morphs into a giant spider-like creature, capturing the children. However, similar to Cthulhu's defeat by a boat, the monster is destroyed by a pickup truck, only to resurrect later on, mirroring Cthulhu's return. Everyone ends up going back to a store, and there they discover that in fact, this monster was formed by the bad and cheap candies, which are forgotten on Halloween, but then the monster is defeated when Seuss literally eats him from the inside out.
What's up, guys?
This creature appears in the second episode of the second season. That's when Jipper calls everyone to explore in a hideout mentioned in his diary. He was hoping to find the author there, so he goes with Mabel, Suze, and Wendy. But inside, Mabel decides to lock Jipper up with Wendy in a room so that Jipper could confess his feelings to Wendy. However, as he ends up getting very nervous, he would much rather find another exit and face a monster inside than end up confessing to Wendy. This is when it seems like they will be devoured by a spider there. A guy shows up and defeats it. He gives Dipper a lot of confidence and even manages to get the diary. But then he reveals himself to be actually a creature and can change shape. that is, a shapeshifter. When the shapeshifter gets the diary, he says he met the author, and even transforms into several creatures, among them the hide behind itself. A chase ensues as they try to trap the shapeshifter, but Wendy gets caught up in the game as well. Then Dipper, thinking that Wendy was gone for good, ends up revealing himself to her, confessing his feelings right there, right? The shapeshifter itself was actually the one on the ground. It was the famous battle between two similar people, in this case, the two Wendys. But then Dipper hits the shapeshifter, and he, along with Wendy, push it into a chamber. It ends up being frozen, but not before scaring Dipper one more time. This monster here also appears in a short of Dipper and the Anomaly, and so actually its name doesn't exist, right? The most they call him is Candy Eater. But since he's showing his tambourine and I find it quite funny, I'm going to call him Naked World.
Gosh, it looks like a little naked man.
Now begins Dipper's Day of the Unexplained number 76.
That's a good name there for the warrior. The thing starts with Dipper recording Mabel pulling a straw there, and something passes by the camera very quickly. Dipper calls Mabel, who gets up to not lose the candies. The monster stays, eating and licking things. Dipper tries catching him, but the creature grabs the candies, climbs the wall, showing a furry tambourine. They chase the creature but stop when he looks at the TV. Mabel and Dipper give up getting rid of him. They watch TV with him as he eats golf tacos.
What is he saying?
The Time Baby, who is much more stylish, was the last child of an extinct race of time giants, and he weighs approximately 9 trillion tons. At some point in the past, the Time Baby was frozen in an Antarctic glacier, and it seems that Mount Rushmore is actually robots. Well, I don't know if it's true, but I found the information interesting, and it seems that these robots were released as soon as the child left his prison. Well, at some point in the future, he ends up being released due to global warming and causes a lot of damage to human civilization. He decimates all his enemies and ends up dominating the entire world. After Dipper and Mabel kind of mess up the mission of the Time Anomaly Removal Team's agent, who is Brandy Blanding in the episode called The Time Traveler's Pig, Time Baby blames the agent for everything that happened and sends him to remove all the anomalies caused by Dipper and Mabel's trip.
You must clean up all the anomalies!
And he condemns him to spend some time in the Inficementarium. When Blade escapes and invokes the Globinar against the brothers there, Dipper and Maple Time Baby ends up witnessing the departure and attending the twins' requests when they win, in addition to giving them a time wish. In Adam Stranger's Part 1, he appears with the Time Police to arrest Bill Cipher for possessing Blade and to prevent Bill's dimensional rift that would end up destroying all existence. But Bill easily vaporizes him, right? And also the Time Police.
What am I going to do now that this happens?
A cryptogram there in the credits says it will take about 1,000 years for him to reconstitute all his molecules. He will certainly be very annoyed after that. And in Weirdmageddon Part 3, he is mentioned by Bill, who referred to him as that stupid baby, due of course to his death. Bill eventually became the master of time. The Time Baby is about as large as a small building. He has a blue hourglass mark on his head, reminding me of the Avatar. His eyes are black. He can also shoot lasers from his eyes. His head is bigger than his own body, and of course he has some pink on his cheeks. Bill Cipher is an extremely powerful interdimensional demon. It's the end of the world. Previously, he only existed in a mental landscape, but then he ended up coming to the real world. Since being invoked by Ford Pines over 30 years ago, he is well known for his mysteriousness and sadistic sense of humor. Bill is the series' main antagonist. Billions of years ago, before the events of the series, Bill Cipher originated in a two-dimensional universe known as the Second Dimension. But Bill didn't like it there at all. Basically, he found everyone boring. So he kind of put his entire dimension into complete chaos, along with everyone he knew, including his own parents. Then he ended up taking control of an intergalactic foam. The place, known as Nightmare Realm, was always boiling. In this realm, there were no rules and no physics, and because of that, basically 1 hour he would destroy himself. With this and knowing that 1 hour the nightmare realm would merge with the third dimension, Bill started doing everything to make this happen as quickly as possible. But since he didn't have a physical form, Bill could only access people's dreams, and that's where his name comes from, right? I mean, his title, Dream Demon. And to interact with mortals, to talk and everything else, he adopted the name of Bill Cipher, since his real name would basically evaporate anyone there, right? But once, Bill came into contact with a shaman named MODOK. But when MODOK learned of Bill's prophecy to prevent him from coming to the real world and ending the world, he kind of ended it, didn't he? Let's imagine he self-immolated. And the natives there found a way to defeat Bill, using the zodiac with 10 symbols. And they left behind several paintings about everything that had happened, including also how to invoke Bill. The invocation was left in the script with a warning not to read it aloud, though the reason is unknown. Anyway, just follow the script, right? Time passes and then Stanford Pines arrives, who spent the last 6 years investigating a multitude of unnatural creatures and various crazy things in the town. Thus, he could never explain the origin of these oddities. He discovered the ancient cave containing the stories of Bill Cipher. Despite the warnings, he ignored them because yes, right? Because he wasn't going to summon a demon. He repeated the enchantment out loud and then he summoned Bill Cipher in his mental landscape. Bill immediately realized that Ford was intelligent, but arrogant and insecure. Since he lacked friends, he was easily manipulated and ended up being used by Stanford. Well, then Ford and Fidel Ford conducted their first test with an active portal to connect the two dimensions, which went terribly wrong because the rope was attached to a dummy they intended to send through the portal, and it got tangled up in Fidel Ford and ended up briefly sending him through the portal, just his head. Upon returning, he was completely insane because it seems through one of the newspapers there, Fidel Ford ended up seeing Bill remove his own exoskeleton to feed, and then he kind of abandoned the project after that. Well, what happened with Fidel Ford ended up causing Ford and Bill to fight, and Ford found out that Bill was deceiving him since the portal was supposed to act as a gateway to the nightmare realm, allowing the demon to bring all the chaos and destruction to the universe. Feeling betrayed and scared, Ford attempted to destroy the entire project and everything related to the portal. But he accidentally falls into it while doing so. And since then, kind of with the loss of his assistant there, Bill lost access to the physical world until then. Well, this creature here is possibly the most powerful, and here would actually be a kind of god in Gravity Falls. She is not directly mentioned in the series. There are some Easter eggs about her, but she herself does not appear. And this is Axolotl, the being who is far above the Time Baby and even Bill Cipher. And Bill Cipher even calls him by his name in the final battle of the Weird Mageddon. In this case, you must view everything in reverse to understand. And it also has to be in English, because in Portuguese, for some reason, they changed the sentence. Well, the axolotl appears in the book Deeper and Mabel in The Curse of the Time Pirate's Treasure. They say the book would actually not be canonical, but from what it seems, also some information is indeed canonical, and one of these is the axolotl. Well, the encounter between the axolotl and Dipper and Mabel occurs at some point there in some specific environment that I don't exactly know what it is. This being is basically a giant pink axolotl, and it can also speak and ask each of them to ask a question. Mabel asks who he is. He answers the axolotl. Dipper asks what he knows about Bill Cipher. The axolotl replies, 60 degrees and threes observed from the birch trees, witnessed his dimension's destruction, misses home and can't return, says he's happy, he's a liar, blames the arson for the fire. If he wants to escape the blame, he will have to invoke my name. A way to absorb his crime, a different way at a different time. If you've watched this far, please like, subscribe, and share the video. And also leave in the comments any series, cartoon, movie, whatever it is that you want me to bring deities here on the channel, okay? Thanks, bye. See you?
Too late! It's the end of the world!
Ha 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 ha.